Whenever I talk to women about their online dating experience, they tell me that it's super frustrating. But when I keep digging and look at the profiles of the guys they match, many red flags jump out to me immediately that weren't obvious to them. So I wanted to do this video to give women some insight on what they should pay attention to in men's online dating profiles and first messages. First off, if you're only looking for hookups, which is totally fine by the way, then forget about the rest of this video. It's totally okay to go the casual sex route, but the tips in this video are targeted towards women who are looking for something that could turn into a relationship. So before we look at red flags in profiles and messages, I want to quickly talk about which guys we're trying to avoid. I assume you're a quality woman and we want to look for all-around quality men, right? What I mean with that is someone who is neither an asshole nor a bore. So someone who is assertive yet can be soft and romantic, someone who is honest and faithful. And those are just the broad strokes, but I think you see what kind of man we're going for. All right, now let's look at some red flags and profiles together, shall we? So one of the first red flags that I see all the time is no bio. Sure, this is not a universal truth. Some people, they just throw up a quick profile and they're done with that and they don't want to invest more into their profiles. But that is the key point here. It's about investment. And the biggest issue I see so many women have later on with guys is that they are not willing to commit. And so you have to find a way to screen for commitment early on. One of those ways is to look for, are they willing to invest some time in their profiles? If someone is a good guy, their thinking is, I want to show myself. I want to show what's good about me. I want to present my most authentic self to her. And then, when she sees me and meets me and she's kind of like me, likes the same things, and maybe she's into my type, then there's compatibility there. That is a huge point, because assholes, they usually don't do that. They never want to invest because they want to get their desired result, which is usually sex, as quickly as possible and as cheaply as possible. Like, they don't want to go on 3 dates without sex, right? And they also don't want to spend a lot of time investing into their profiles, investing into writing a bio that's fitting, that tells something about them, that shows their personality, because they're not interested in any of that. They're not looking for a relationship. They just want to pretend as long as it takes to get the desired result. So it's not always a universal sign of someone being an asshole, not by any means, but it's something that you should pay attention to, okay? And then the sum of these red flags makes or breaks that person. Look out for no profile text, and if you see it, then be very wary of, does this guy have the best of intentions? This one is a big one, and it's kind of similar to having no bio at all. It's the same with photos. So if he has, and I would say less than 3 pictures, because again, if you have pictures of yourself, if you're comfortable with yourself, if you have a life, why would you only show a little part of that? And especially if those photos don't show any character, like if those photos are only showing them at their prettiest, basically. So if a guy only has 1 photo in a suit and 1 photo working out, it's almost guaranteed he's an asshole, right? So better you look for someone who has a photo with friends and family, 1 photo of themselves, 1 smiling photo, 1 photo where they're traveling. Like, all that stuff hints at a much more healthy person than if they only have the attractive photos and that's it. Or no photos, only 1 photo or very few photos. Bathroom selfies. Do you really need to say more, guys? If he has more than 1 bathroom selfie, then no, just stay clear of that. This next point might be one that's not as obvious. And it's no mention of any hobbies. I've met so many guys who are basically full-time pickup artists. Their whole life revolves around women and how to get them. These guys, they don't have, their life is not full of hobbies that they want to do. Like, they don't have pictures of them with their friends playing soccer somewhere. They don't have pictures of hiking up that mountain and enjoying that fantastic view. Like, all their stuff revolves just around partying, women, drinking, smoking, all these activities. So that is a pretty big red flag in my book. And sometimes these profiles, there's just so little information there. But that's what I said in the first point. It's when there's so little information and when they don't have the urge to show something about their life. Like, a profile that I threw up, and it doesn't contain anything about what I enjoy to do in my spare time. Like, what does that say about me as a person? All right, the next point is coolness and smoothness. I know we all want to be with someone who we think is cool. But there's a difference between a person who is cool but doesn't try to, and the person who is trying to be cool. What I'm talking about are people who try to be cool, who try to impress you. It basically hints at a self-esteem issue. These people don't think they're good enough the way they naturally are. So they try to be cool, they try to be smooth, they try to use that cool language. They are too cool to write longer messages. They don't put any real information in their profiles. They stand there, they have that smirk on and stuff. Like, I think you can detect cool guys. It's rehearsed, it's an act, because that's what they're playing. Some of them play that their whole lives. And I have friends who are like that. And honestly, I've never seen a woman end up happy after being with them. And that's pretty bad, because I think a lot of these guys are good guys. It's just so that they think they have to put on this show and they have to put on this mask to be accepted and to be seen as cool and to replicate the success with women that they had in the past. And you should be very cautious with guys like that. Another big red flag are guys who are super direct. So, when you put in your profile as your bio, wanna fuck, it's obvious. But there are many variations, of course. But guys who are very direct, they tend to be seen by some women as honest. But yeah, it is honest in a way, but it's the wrong way. Like, the problem is, it's not about the honesty for them. It's about getting to their goal as fast as possible. And so they don't want to spend time, wasting time messaging back and forth. They don't want to spend time, at a date, seeing her a few times, figuring out if it's a good fit and if they should spend the night together, for example. They want to make it super clear. They only want to select people who want to go there really quickly. And so if you're looking for more, as I said in the beginning, it's totally fine if you're looking for casual sex. But don't match a guy like that just because he's good looking and because he's direct. Because that guy is never gonna commit to you, that's for sure. And so many women think, yeah, he did that with his exes or these other women, but not with me. And that's the biggest fallacy, because these guys are master manipulators, and they will do and say anything. They will do anything to get you into bed. And after that has happened, usually then they change very quickly. After they have gotten what they were looking for, then they turn into, Mr. Hyde. Oftentimes, complete lack of commitment. They aren't nice anymore. They completely change from one second to another. So really spare yourself of that horrible experience and avoid guys who are super direct in their bios. On the other end of the spectrum of assholes, we have bores. What I mean with bores are guys that it's just, there is no emotion involved. It's only rational talk. It's only, oh, what do you do for a living? Ah, interesting. And where did you grow up? Okay. And did you enjoy doing this with your friends? And you see, like, boring talk and boring conversation often goes hand in hand with insecurity. And most women, they just want a confident guy, someone who is well-spoken, who is charismatic. And a lot of these guys don't meet those norms. And doesn't mean that they're bad guys. You're certainly gonna have an okay experience with a lot of these people. But so many women, even if they end up in a relationship with guys like that, in the end they're unhappy, and they then, sometimes it ends up in cheating or some other form of heartbreak for one of them. And so I think it's good if you really want the guy who is the confident type and who is, who makes you feel like a woman, who makes you feel desired, then I would probably avoid guys who seem like outright bores. And so how do you detect those? They do the opposite of the assholes. They invest way too much. So, for example, with their bios, they write everything about themselves, but only factually. So they say, I work at IBM, and I have 2 dogs, and in my spare time I like to play soccer, and after work I sometimes go for a drink. Like, you see, no emotion there. Someone who is not able to share their emotional side is probably not going to be a good fit for you. And so that's one sign that someone might be in that category. Endless long bios, all that stuff. With messaging, it becomes very clear very fast, when there's just no rapport going on. And it's only, kind of like an interrogation, only asking you questions, replying immediately every time. Not to say that it's bad to reply to someone, and even quickly, but these guys, they just invest way too much. They become a little needy, and I think you're all around better off if you avoid guys like that. If you are looking for, the emotional experience, the butterflies, the romance, someone who makes you feel desired, as I said earlier. So this next tip is after you guys matched. So a lot of men, what they do is, and how they use online dating apps, is they just use it as kind of a confirmation of their desirability. So what I mean by that is they basically swipe right on every attractive woman they see. No matter what she writes in her bio, no matter if they think they might be a good fit for each other, like, it's only about physical attractiveness. And so they swipe, and some matches come along, and let's say you're one of those matches. If you're not in their top category of attractiveness, then they will not message you for a few days, maybe it's weeks, maybe it's months even, But eventually, like, when they have run out of other options, when they have messaged all the most attractive women in their matches, then maybe it's your turn, and you are the next most attractive woman that they wanna reach out to, just because they have run out of other options. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I would think that no one wants to be, the leftovers, basically. I strongly advise you to stay clear of guys like that. This tip is not a clear sign at all, but it more often than not holds true, I would say. And that is not having any photos of their social life together with friends or family. I know a lot of guys don't have a lot of photo of themselves, period. But I think it has become a common practice and common knowledge in online dating that you want to include at least one photo where you show that you are a person who has friends and who cares about others, who is loved by others. While I don't think it's a clear sign in any way, it's something to be cautious about. and to maybe, you know, poke a little bit when you're messaging with someone like that. Like ask them, hey, send me a photo of you and your friends. I mean, obviously do it in a way that doesn't just sound like you're trying to test them or something. But I would say that you're far better off usually with someone who seems to have a good family life, who seems to have good friends. I mean, you want to find someone who is healthy in every way, right? And so a healthy life also involves good relationships with other people. And it reflects back on who that person is a lot, I think. Any guy who uses pickup lines is an asshole, period. There's just no debate. Don't ever fall for a guy who uses pickup lines. No matter how funny they are. You know what he does? He Googles for them on the internet, finds the funniest pickup line or the one where he's read, this works with so many women. And then he uses it with everyone he matches. You know, he recycles those time and time again. And no, just no. Avoid guys who use pickup lines, period. The next point is a controversial one. It's photos of them with animals. It could also be other cute things like babies, but usually they stay clear of that and use animals. So a lot of guys, you know, they don't own a dog, they don't own a cat, they don't have like, for example, one of my best friends recently got a golden retriever, and I was lucky enough to, you know, get to know him as a puppy, and like I'm kind of like his uncle, and I'm super happy that I have that relationship with the dog without having to go through all the trouble of owning one myself. So I have a couple of pics with me and the dog, but honestly I don't even like to use them too much in online dating, just because I don't want to lead anyone on. So many guys don't care about the animal. They care about what it triggers in you. And it's usually a reaction of, oh, this is so cute. Oh, he must have a good heart if he's great with animals. All of that could be true. But the thing is, someone who takes photos with an animal should better have a close relationship with that animal and should really care about it and not just pose with it for photos. So, you know, there's so many. I mean, there was this time where all the guys had photos with little tiger babies just because they heard that women thought that is so cute. But if the guy has a photo with an animal and you talk to him and it turns out he doesn't own that animal, this is a huge warning sign, and I would think twice before continuing something like that with him. I mean, don't throw them out immediately if they say like a story like I had with that dog, that I love that dog, you know. It just happens that I'm not the owner, but I have a close relationship with it. But if someone says, nah, that was just at this park or at my friend's place. Like if someone uses a friend's dog to take pictures just so you think they're cute and they have a heart for animals and stuff like that, I think that happens to be a little manipulative. This is a quick and funny one, and you might agree or disagree with me, but I think it's another sign of a lack of investment, and that is grammar. If I write a profile, and I'm sure you agree with me on this, and I want to present my best self to the outside world, which I think you should in online dating, then I want to make sure that I write in somewhat decent English, okay? I mean, obviously everyone these days, you know, no one cares about capitalization, no one cares about using words for numbers, stuff like that, you know, little things. I mean, but if it seems like they have trouble with spelling, or they, you know, their English isn't as sophisticated as you'd like it to be, or as you'd expect from someone who might be a potential partner for you in the future, then yeah, be careful and see if that trend continues in messaging. A really, really bad sign is when he has in his profile a list of demands. You know, I want blondes who are at least 5'10", who are skinny and blah, blah, blah. Someone who is a decent guy is more often than not someone who is polite as well. And I think it's not very polite to start out by having all these demands without even telling the person what you have to offer. It's important in dating to be able to offer yourself what you're looking for in others. So I think it's a much better way to start out by saying, what you are, what you enjoy, what you have to offer to someone else. And then look for people who match that same criteria, Look for compatibility. But guys who have only demands but don't tell you anything about them besides their good-looking pictures, they're usually bad company, and I would recommend that you stay clear. Another one is people who basically post negative stuff about online dating. In their bio, they put stuff like, only here because what else can you do during this pandemic? Or they say, just looking here, not taking this too seriously. Or in Hinge there is a prompt, for example, that's like, what was your worst idea ever? And they answer that with Hinge or online dating. Stuff like that, again, it's a lack of commitment. It's someone who doesn't take this thing too seriously. Maybe they're pretending to not take it seriously, but then it's again the coolness thing, right, that I talked about earlier. If someone doesn't even commit enough to think about who they are, what makes them them, what is exciting about their life, what they want to share with you, this is always a sign that someone is not ready to commit. And that always ends up with a lot of heartbreak for women, because these guys, they aren't gonna change eventually. If they aren't ready to commit in the beginning, they sure as hell aren't ready to commit later on. Have you ever started a conversation with someone and all they did was send you memes? I know memes are fun. I use memes myself. It's, I think, a great conversation starter a lot of times, and it's more fun than hi, nice to meet you, or whatever. Like, we're all sick and tired of hey, hi, hey there, whatever. Sometimes a meme, and especially if it's, a creative one, if the person seemed to, take some time and effort into picking something that's pretty fitting and that relates to something in your bio, for example, that's great. But if all they do is send memes, or if they send a ton of them, it usually also hints at a lack of investment. And, it's just so much quicker for them. And imagine they do that with 20 women. It's just so much quicker when the message comes in to press a button and send you that funny GIF. Is it good? I don't think so, to be honest. I think everything that hints at a lack of investment is bad news for the long term. As I said, if you're only looking for casual sex, a lot of these red flags that I bring up here in this video are fine. But to be honest, is it really worth it? I mean, isn't an experience with someone who is, also your type, but makes you laugh and is a character, and he has a good heart, and he's not gonna cheat on you or whatever it is, like, I think that experience is worth so much more than going through all these fuckboys and making all these bad experiences. And you know what? Sometimes women get hurt so badly by some of these assholes. They then get frustrated, and then they sometimes let that frustration out on other guys. And it becomes this spiral of men and women hurting each other. And I think it's just not worth it. All right, that's all I got for today. And thank you very much for listening. I hope some of these tips are gonna come in handy for you. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. I mean, I bet a lot of these points have raised follow-up questions, or they are somewhat controversial. And feel free to challenge me. I'm always up for a debate.